Mrs. Sunja Choi shrieked, her diamond rings catching the chandelier light. 10 years and you've given this family nothing. Minji didn't flinch. Her slender fingers reached into her Hermes Birkin, pulled out a cream envelope, and placed it deliberately between the kimchi and prime rib. You're right, she said, her voice unnaturally calm. Let's talk about why I can't have children. She checked her Cartier watch and smiled. A terrible, beautiful smile. Your son's pregnant mistress should be here any minute. I invited her myself. At a lavish Sunday dinner in Highland Park, Dallas, Minji Park sits calmly as her mother-in-law, Mrs. Sunja Choi, publicly humiliates her for being barren after 10 years of marriage. Instead of breaking, Minji places a medical envelope on the table and calmly reveals the truth. Her infertility was caused by untreated chlamydia, an infection she contracted from her husband, Jinho, within their first year of marriage. She had entered the marriage as a Yale-educated heiress from Park Holdings, believing in love. Instead, she endured a decade of blame, cruelty, and isolation while Jinho allowed his family to label her defective. What they didn't know, she had evidence. Before the family can recover, Minji drops another bomb. She invited Jinho's pregnant mistress, Yuna Kim, to dinner. In front of everyone, Minji warns Yuna that Jinho may have infected her too. Then comes the final strike. Jinho has been embezzling from Park Holdings, the company Minji's family owns, and which controls 60% of Choi Technologies. The Choi family never knew Minji wasn't just a wife. She was the majority power behind their empire. With legal documents in hand and Dallas's most feared corporate attorney beside her, Minji reveals that an emergency board meeting is set for the next morning. The evidence will destroy Jinho's position and expose his financial crimes. As chaos erupts, screams, panic, betrayal, Minji delivers one final blow. The documents Jinho gave Yuna weren't divorce papers. They signed away her parental rights and financial protection. He planned to take her baby and abandon her, just as he emotionally destroyed Minji. Then Minji walks out. For 10 years she endured humiliation. Tonight she ended it. As she drives away from the mansion that once imprisoned her, she texts her brother. I've been ready for 10 years. The war for the Choi Empire begins at sunrise. And this time Minji holds the power. If you felt Minji's silence, if you've ever been blamed for someone else's betrayal, if you've ever watched a woman endure quietly while the world called her weak, then this story is for you. Because chapter 1 wasn't revenge. It was awakening, and tomorrow, empires fall. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because in chapter 2, the boardroom becomes a battlefield, secrets surface, and someone unexpected chooses sides. Trust me, you do not want to miss what Minji does next. 3 weeks before the explosive dinner, Minji sat in the sterile waiting room of Dallas fertility specialists for what she thought would be another failed attempt at hope. Instead, she received the truth that shattered everything. Dr. Sarah Chun delivered the diagnosis gently but clearly. Minji's fallopian tubes were completely blocked due to severe scarring caused by long-term untreated chlamydia. The infection had likely been present since the first year of her marriage. The damage was permanent. IVF wouldn't work. Natural conception was impossible. Minji had been tested before her wedding. She had been a virgin, clean, which meant there was only one possible source. Her husband. As the reality settled in, memories from that first year resurfaced. Late nights, unfamiliar perfume, unexplained distance. Jinho had infected her, knowingly or not, and then allowed her to endure 10 years of humiliation while his mother branded her barren. The infection could be treated now, but the infertility could not be reversed. Never. Instead of breaking, something inside Minji crystallized. She requested every medical record, every test result, every documented timeline. This wasn't just about divorce anymore. It was about evidence. That night, surrounded by medical files in her private home office, Minji called her best friend, Grace. Calmly, methodically, she explained what she had discovered. Grace's outrage was immediate, but Minji's voice was ice. She didn't want comfort. She wanted a forensic accountant. If Jinho had cheated early in the marriage, he was likely still cheating. And if he was cheating, he was spending money. Minji wanted every dollar traced, every account uncovered, every lie exposed. 3 days later, Grace returned with proof. Jinho had been embezzling from Choi Technologies for 5 years. The stolen funds were funneled into an account connected to YK Holdings. YK stood for Yuna Kim, a 26-year-old marketing associate. 5 months pregnant. Photos revealed the truth. Luxury apartment in Uptown, designer shopping sprees, a Lexus, everything financed with money from Minji's family company, over $300,000. Then came another revelation. Park Holdings owned 60% of Choi Technologies, and Minji's father was ready to transfer that controlling stake to her. If she wanted to burn it down, he would hand her the matches. Looking at Yuna's photos, Minji didn't just see a mistress. She saw another woman possibly deceived by the same man. Her next instruction to Grace was quiet but lethal. Get everything on Yuna, and find out if she knows he's married. The war had officially begun, long before the dinner table explosion. And this time, Minji wasn't the victim. She was gathering weapons. Minji stands outside Yuna Kim's luxury Uptown Dallas apartment, steadying herself before pressing the buzzer. She introduces herself plainly, Jinho Choi's wife. Yuna lets her in, and immediately insists she didn't know he was married. Jinho told her he was divorced. She only discovered the truth after becoming pregnant 3 months earlier. He promised he would leave Minji, claiming the marriage was already over because Minji couldn't give him children. The cruelty of that lie lands hard. Instead of attacking her, Minji hands Yuna medical records. Calmly, clinically, she explains. She was a virgin when she married Jinho. Tested clean. Within the first year, he infected her with chlamydia contracted through cheating. The untreated infection permanently destroyed her fertility. For 10 years, he allowed her to take the blame. Yuna is horrified, but insists her prenatal STI tests were negative. Minji shows her recent texts from Jinho arranging meetings with another woman. He is still cheating. Reinfection is possible. Yuna needs to get tested again. The truth shifts the air between them. They are not rivals. They are casualties. Then Minji asks about legal documents. Yuna retrieves what Jinho described as custody protections. Minji reads them carefully, and her anger turns lethal. They are not protective agreements. They are full parental rights transfers. If Yuna signs them, she forfeits legal claim to her child while remaining financially responsible. Jinho would gain full custody. He planned to take her baby, just as he took Minji's future. Minji warns her. Once the Choi family secures the grandchild, Yuna will be discarded. The pattern is clear. The manipulation identical. She gives Yuna her attorney's card and urges her not to sign anything. When Yuna asks why she's helping her, Minji answers honestly. Because she wishes someone had warned her 10 years ago. As Minji prepares to leave, Yuna makes a choice. She has evidence, texts, emails, financial transfers. She suspected lies all along. She's willing to testify. An emergency board meeting is scheduled in 2 weeks. If Yuna stands with her, the embezzlement, fraud, and deception can be exposed publicly. Yuna agrees. The war now has 2 soldiers. That night, Minji organizes everything. Medical proof, financial records, custody fraud, testimony. Her brother Daniel calls with one final weapon. Park Holdings' 60% stake in Choi Technologies has officially been transferred to her. She is now the majority shareholder. Jinho has no idea. When Daniel asks if she's certain, Minji's answer is calm and final. There was never any going back. Not after the disease. Not after the silence. Not after 10 years of humiliation. The board meeting is in 2 weeks. And this time, Minji doesn't just want freedom. She wants everything. If betrayal stole your voice, if silence nearly broke you, if you've ever realized the woman you thought was your enemy was actually your ally, then stay with this story. Because in the next chapter, the boardroom doors close, and someone won't walk out intact. Minji's invitation to Sunday dinner was never about politeness. It was strategy. She calls Yuna and calmly instructs her to attend dinner at the Choi estate as her guest. Yuna panics, terrified of facing Jinho's powerful, vicious mother. Minji reassures her with chilling composure. This is only the preview, and she tells Yuna to wear something that shows the pregnancy, and to bring the unsigned custody documents. On Sunday, Minji arrives late, dressed in understated Dior elegance. Every inch the perfect daughter-in-law. Mrs. Sunja Choi presides at the table, radiating control. Jinho looks uneasy. Then the doorbell rings. Minji personally opens it, revealing Yuna, 5 months pregnant, visibly showing. She escorts her inside like an honored guest and introduces her sweetly to the family. Silence detonates. When Minji announces that Yuna is carrying Jinho's child, chaos erupts. Mrs. Choi explodes in fury, accusing Yuna of being a homewrecker. Yuna, shaking but brave, admits Jinho told her he was divorced. Before Jinho can construct another lie, Minji calmly places medical records on the table. She reveals the truth. She was a virgin at marriage, tested clean. Within a year, Jinho infected her with chlamydia from cheating. The untreated infection permanently destroyed her fertility. For 10 years, she endured humiliation while he remained silent. Mrs. Choi denies it. Jinho sweats, speechless. Minji continues dismantling him. She exposes the uptown apartment, the car, the credit cards, all funded through embezzlement from Park Holdings, her family's majority stake in Choi Technologies. Over $300,000 stolen to finance his affair. Then comes the final blow. Yuna presents the custody agreements. Minji explains to the horrified table that the documents would strip Yuna of all parental rights while making her financially responsible. Jinho intended to take the baby and discard the mother, delivering a grandchild to his family without inconvenience. Even Mrs. Choi is momentarily shaken. Minji summarizes the damage: infection, betrayal, embezzlement, fraud, serial infidelity. The Choi family's golden son stands exposed. Mrs. Choi orders them out. Minji complies, after placing one last document on the table: a notice for an emergency board meeting at Choi Technologies in 2 weeks. All members required to attend. "I'll see you there," she tells her husband. As she walks out with Yuna into the Dallas night, Mrs. Choi screams threats of destruction. Minji pauses only once to respond. "You've been trying to destroy me for 10 years. You failed. Now it's my turn. And unlike you, I don't fail." Behind her, the Choi empire fractures. For the first time in a decade, Minji doesn't feel humiliated. She feels powerful. In the sleek glass and steel conference room at Grace Huang's law firm, Minji Park sat at the head of the table, flanked by her attorney Grace and her brother Daniel. Across from them were forensic accountants, private investigators, and piles of evidence, enough to destroy Jinho Choi's carefully constructed life. Patricia Kim, the lead forensic accountant, laid out her findings. Systematic embezzlement totaling $847,000 over 5 years, with money funneled into shell companies including YK Holdings for Jinho's mistress, Yuna Kim, SB Enterprises for another woman, and Park Avenue LLC. An insulting nod to Minji's maiden name. Marcus Chen, the private investigator, identified one of the women, Minyoung Mia Song, living in a luxury condo paid for by Jinho. Evidence suggested at least 2 mistresses concurrently, and 4 additional women over the past decade received money or gifts via company funds. Minji's world spun. 10 years of personal betrayal, humiliation, and fertility struggles while her husband lived a double life. Grace guided Minji through the options: criminal charges for embezzlement, civil suits for fraud, divorce with full financial disclosure, or the nuclear option, the board meeting. Minji realized that in 9 days, she would hold the controlling 60% stake in Choi Technologies, transferred secretly by her father, allowing her to remove Jinho as CEO. Even his mother, Mrs. Sunja Choi, owning 20%, couldn't override overwhelming evidence. The team uncovered another betrayal. Mrs. Choi herself had been siphoning $30,000 monthly in fraudulent consulting fees, totaling $1.8 million over 5 years. Combined with Jinho's theft, The Choi family had embezzled $2.65 million from Park Holdings. Minji's anger simmered, but she remained strategically calm. This revelation would maximize the impact at the upcoming board meeting. Later, Minji received a call from Jennifer Wu, another woman wronged by Jinho, who revealed she'd been pregnant during their affair and had suffered a miscarriage due to his insistence on abortion. Jennifer now offered to testify, providing evidence of text messages, emails, financial transfers, and medical documents. Alongside Yoona Kim, Mia Song, and other victims, Minji was assembling a coalition of women ready to hold Jinho accountable. Jinho texted, desperate to talk, calling her actions unreasonable. Minji's reply was terse. See you at the board meeting. She blocked his number. Some bridges, she realized, were meant to burn. The evidence was ready, the plan set, and in 9 days, the empire Jinho had built on lies would collapse under the weight of truth. Minji, armed with justice, control, and strategy, was prepared to reclaim everything and leave betrayal behind. Minji Park entered the Choi Technologies boardroom on the 23rd floor of a towering Dallas skyscraper. The city sprawling beneath her like a kingdom she was about to reclaim. Dressed in a sharp black Armani suit, diamond studs her only adornment, she exuded calm authority. Flanked by her attorney Grace Huang and her brother Daniel, she carried bankers' boxes full of evidence. Today wasn't a regular meeting, it was an execution chamber. As board members arrived, including family friend James Wong, CFO Patricia Chan, and her father Richard Park, tension rippled through the room. Finally, Jinho Choi and his mother, Soonja Choi, entered, the latter in a designer hanbok and dripping in jewels, her fury barely contained. Minji calmly revealed she was now the majority shareholder of Choi Technologies. 60% of the company legally transferred to her from her father. Shock, disbelief, and rage erupted among the Choi's, particularly Mrs. Choi, whose carefully curated empire suddenly trembled. Minji began presenting irrefutable evidence. Forensic accountant Patricia displayed a detailed timeline showing Jinho embezzling $847,000 over 5 years, funneling money to shell companies to support multiple mistresses and personal luxuries. Private investigator Marcus Chen presented photographs of luxury apartments, hotel receipts, and Tiffany purchases tied to his affairs. The board watched, horrified. The revelations escalated. Soonja Choi had been receiving $30,000 monthly for phantom consulting services over 5 years, amounting to $1.8 million. Combined, the family had siphoned $2.647 million from Park Holdings. Minji detailed the personal betrayal that accompanied these financial crimes. Jinho had infected her with chlamydia in the first year of marriage, destroying her reproductive system, all while she endured public humiliation from his mother. Witnesses entered. Yoona Kim, 7 months pregnant, testified about Jinho's financial support and fraudulent custody documents. Jennifer Wu recounted her pregnancy and miscarriage after Jinho pressured her to terminate. Mia Song revealed her own victimization as a mistress deceived about Minji's death. Each testimony was corroborated with evidence, leaving the boardroom silent except for the weight of truth. Minji called the vote to remove Jinho as CEO and terminate Soonja Choi's consulting contract. Hands shot up, her father first, accept the choice. The motion passed unanimously. Criminal charges were immediately filed for embezzlement and fraud. Divorce papers were finalized, and Jinho and his mother were escorted out, their empire collapsing. Minji sat with the women, acknowledging their shared pain, their survival, and the new chapter ahead. Healing, rebuilding, and reclaiming power. This is not just Minji's story. It's every woman blamed for another's sin, silenced, and underestimated. Your phoenix moment is coming. Share your story. Rise, reclaim, heal. Mrs. Soonja Choi's fall from grace was swift and merciless. Within 48 hours of the board meeting, Dallas society buzzed with scandal. The Highland Park social circles, Korean American community, and every charity gala, country club luncheon, and church service became a referendum on her disgrace. Invitations vanished, positions were revoked, memberships canceled, and her social influence evaporated. Minji observed it all with the detached precision of a general surveying a battlefield. But the decisive blow came unexpectedly. Helen Park, Minji's mother, held a press conference flanked by 4 other influential Korean-American matriarchs. For the first time publicly, she denounced the systemic abuse of daughters-in-law, naming Soonja as a decade-long perpetrator of cruelty, financial theft, and emotional manipulation. Helen announced the severing of all social and business ties with the Choi family and revealed the creation of the Park Foundation for Women's Dignity, dedicated to helping women trapped in abusive marriages. The foundation's first client was Yoona Kim, 7 months pregnant and abandoned by her family. Minji reassured her. The foundation would cover her medical expenses, housing, legal fees, and support throughout her pregnancy and beyond. Yoona, once a mistress, asked to join the foundation, wanting to help other survivors with her marketing and communications expertise. Minji welcomed her, transforming pain into purpose. Meanwhile, Soonja's world continued to crumble. Her social positions, memberships, and friendships evaporated. The ultimate blow came when her husband, Thomas Choi, filed for divorce after 35 years, citing her cruelty and complicity in Jinho's betrayals. Frozen assets and pending criminal investigations ensured she had nothing left. 2 weeks later, Minji received a handwritten apology from Soonja, acknowledging her failures and cruelty, admitting the harm inflicted on Minji and others. Minji read the letter, acknowledged it, but chose not to forgive. The wounds were too deep. She released it, letting go completely. That evening, Minji sat with her mother in the garden of her childhood home. Helen asked if she was happy. Minji admitted she wasn't yet fully happy, but free, a foundation upon which to rebuild her life. Jinho faced legal consequences. The divorce was finalized with him receiving nothing, and Minji planned to live fully and authentically, no longer silent, enduring abuse, or sacrificing herself. She also assumed leadership of the company, ready to excel in business while finally prioritizing her life and healing. 6 months after the board meeting, Minji organized a unique gathering at the Park Foundation offices. 7 women, former employees, ex-girlfriends, and mistresses of Jinho Choi, sat in a circle, each carrying the weight of trauma he had inflicted. Minji welcomed them warmly. "We need to see each other as whole people, not just victims," she said. Grace Huang, Minji's attorney, explained the purpose, documenting a clear pattern of predatory behavior for Jinho's upcoming trial. Each woman represented a piece of the puzzle: financial fraud, emotional manipulation, medical abuse. As the women spoke, patterns emerged. Jinho had told each one the same lines: claims of divorce, widowhood, or separation, promising love and a future. Identical words, identical manipulations. He treated them as roles, not individuals. Medical abuse surfaced. Several women, including Yoona and Jennifer, had contracted STIs due to his deceit, while Jennifer had been pressured to terminate a pregnancy, later receiving hush money. Emotional and career damage was equally devastating. Michelle had been hospitalized with suicidal ideation, Lisa had lost her job, Mia had been psychologically scarred, and Yoona faced pregnancy alone. Financially, the evidence was stark. Jinho had embezzled over $1.4 million from Choi Technologies and personal accounts, distributing gifts and maintaining multiple mistresses. Grace outlined the irrefutable documentation for the prosecution. Timelines, texts, financial records, all showing systematic, deliberate exploitation. The women realized they were not alone, that their suffering was connected, and that Jinho's abuse was methodical and pathological. Minji, though angry, also felt profound sadness. For the years stolen, trust destroyed, and futures altered. Legal justice was critical, but she wanted more. "We need healing," she said. The women began imagining something beyond courtrooms. A sisterhood, a community, support for each other. From this shared trauma and collective resilience, the Phoenix Collective was born. A network of survivors refusing to remain broken, bonded by survival, solidarity, and empowerment. The gathering marked a turning point. Individual pain transformed into collective strength, accountability was enforced, and a foundation for healing and empowerment was set in motion, proving that even from the darkest manipulation, unity and resilience could rise. 1 year after the trial, Minji stood in the newly rebranded Park Technologies headquarters. The company was thriving under her leadership. Revenue up 23%, employee satisfaction soaring, and an ethical, transparent culture firmly established. After removing Jinho and reforming the leadership, Minji implemented sweeping changes: independent ethics boards, anti-harassment training, anonymous reporting, and merit-based promotions, transforming the company from fear-driven to principled. Amid this success, a major Korean conglomerate offered $340 million to acquire the company. Minji consulted her father, Richard Park, who encouraged her to sell, reminding her that legacy was hers to define. After consulting Grace, her mother, and the Phoenix Collective, Minji sold Park Technologies for $340 million, keeping $204 million for herself, with the rest donated to the Park Foundation. 6 months later, Phoenix Ventures launched, focusing on women-led businesses with social impact. Initial investments included a domestic violence shelter network, affordable fertility healthcare, a legal tech company, a financial literacy platform, and a Korean-American media company amplifying marginalized voices. Minji didn't just fund projects. She mentored, advised, and connected women entrepreneurs, building a powerful network of women supporting women. The Phoenix Collective grew into a nonprofit with 200 active members, providing legal aid, counseling, and emergency funding, helping dozens of women escape abusive marriages. Despite her successes, the past lingered. Jinho's prison letter admitted his predatory, manipulative behavior and acknowledged the impact of Minji's work, though she filed it away without response. Minji didn't need his validation. Her life and achievements were proof enough. 2 years post-divorce, Minji began a cautious relationship with Dr. James Kim, a widowed pediatrician. Honest conversations about infertility and expectations reinforced trust, allowing Minji to embrace hope and companionship on her own terms. 3 years after the divorce, news arrived. Mrs. Sunja Choi had died suddenly. Minji attended the small, sparsely attended funeral, feeling neither vindication nor satisfaction. Only a hollow acknowledgement that cruelty ultimately punishes itself. That evening, she shared the story with the Phoenix Collective, emphasizing their mission: to help women avoid the fate she had survived. For years after leaving her marriage, Minji addressed 500 women at the first Phoenix Summit. She shared her journey from public humiliation, infertility, and betrayal to empowerment, philanthropy, and leadership. "We are not defined by what destroys us," she told the crowd. "We are defined by what we build from the ashes. And sisters, we are building empires." A young woman approached afterward, seeking help, and Minji welcomed her, embodying hope, strength, and the transformative power of resilience. Meanwhile, Jinho Choi continued his sentence in prison, powerless, as Minji built kingdoms from the ruins of his betrayal. 5 years after her divorce, Minji Park stands in her downtown Dallas penthouse, watching the sunrise beside a life built on peace, not survival. James, steady, kind, a surgeon heading to early rounds, kisses her shoulder before leaving. Their relationship is partnership without fear, love without humiliation. At 9 a.m., she walks into the boardroom of Phoenix Ventures, the $680 million venture capital firm she now leads. Unlike Choi Technologies, there is no intimidation here. Just glass walls, sunlight, and 7 powerful women who built something revolutionary together. On the agenda, acquiring Genesis fertility clinics, a 12-location chain serving low-income women at below-market rates. The margins are slim, but the mission is enormous. For women who can't afford treatment, Genesis represents hope. 5 years ago, Minji learned she was infertile because her ex-husband infected her with an untreated STI. She was labeled barren, broken, worthless. Now she has the power to fund possibility for hundreds of women. The vote is unanimous. Phoenix acquires Genesis. Later, visiting one of the clinics, Minji meets patients, women who remind her of herself. Exhausted, hopeful, rebuilding. When one thanks her, Minji answers simply, "You deserve this chance." That evening, she addresses the Phoenix Collective, now 340 women strong across 3 states. Together, they've helped over 200 women leave abusive marriages and distributed $2.4 million in emergency funding. 5 years ago, I was the woman they called Barren, Minji tells them. Today, I run a venture capital firm. I'm free. The woman they tried to break built an empire. The applause isn't admiration. It's recognition. Later that night, a message arrives from federal prison. Jinho, year 5 of 14. He writes that he's amazed by what she built from the damage he caused. That he'll spend 9 years reflecting on the man he failed to be. Minji reads it once, deletes it. His redemption is no longer her story. 6 months later, the Phoenix Summit gathers 1,200 women. Survivors, founders, fighters. Minji stands at the podium and reminds them, "We are not defined by what destroys us. We are defined by what we build from the ashes." A young woman approaches afterward, bruised and afraid, asking for help leaving her husband. "You've come to the right place," Minji says. This is why she survived. That night, James proposes. No grand spectacle, just certainty. He loves her not despite her past, but because she chose to rise from it. She says yes. 7 years after leaving Jinho, Minji Park is CEO of Phoenix Ventures, $1.2 billion under management, chairwoman of the Park Foundation supporting over 2,000 women annually, and wife to a man who cherishes her strength. The woman they called Barren built kingdoms, and she's only just begun. She went from humiliation to empire, from silence to power. If you believe in women who rise from ashes and turn pain into victory, subscribe now and join the Phoenix Collective. The next queen rises in the next chapter.